Hello, my name is Jonathan Meg, and today I'll be presenting to you my second project for this class. Now, unfortunately, on the previous recording, apparently I didn't have any voice, so I'm hoping to remedy that this time. So, I'm going to quickly overview uh, the features I kept from the last project. First of all, I'm going to go to the camera, and we're going to see a little placeholder image. I'm going to hit the button. And I'm going to see a little selfie here because the camera's facing forward, or facing me. Keep the image. And then the image is going to stay here on the home screen. Now I'm going to go to the most important feature. And of course I'm going to look at the most important stock of the last few months. And what this does is it uses the Polygon.io interface, and it sends a question about some stock information on a specific date, and unfortunately I was not able to have it use the information from the previous day, but I have it working for a hard-coded date right now, and right now that is April 20th, and we could see that on April 20th the stock opened at $164.14, closed at $158.53, and then we could see the high and low right here. So that's it for covering what we got last time, and now I'm going to look at the new feature, data. So we can see I already started a little database, and we got ourselves a little recycler view just with 2 items right now. And if I hit the button, it'll ask me for a name. I'll go with Alex, and I'll hit this to add. And every time I hit this, oops, it'll return us to the recycler view screen. And now, if I click on Alex, I'll display his name on the top left, and I'll be allowed to enter his address. Oops. And I'll be able to enter his occupation. If I hit good and apply changes, it'll kick me back. Oops, not what I wanted to do. It'll kick me back to unfortunately, there is a bug that I have not been able to fix, where when the modification activity closes and tries to return to the previous fragment, it does have a crash problem. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. But if we go into data, we'll click Alex again, we'll see that the changes have been applied and that it's rather permanent. And we can still change that and modify stuff. And if we go into data, we can also view Jacob, who I made while I was testing the features of this. And it's also worthwhile to note that his name is a single entity, and then the address and the occupation are actually 2 different entities. And what this does is it creates a relation between the person Jacob and his home address, which is a house entity, and an occupation entity. And it stores these in a local database. and except for the single bug that I still haven't fixed, that is all the features of my project. So I just wanted to record a little side note about the development of this project. So originally I started this project a few days before it was due, and what I originally tried to do was just add features onto project 1, but every time I would try to do that, it would break one of the dependencies, or it would just kind of corrupt everything that was working in the project, and it would stop working. So every time I tried to implement a feature, something would break, and I'd have to restart. So I encountered a lot of problems with that, especially with the recycler view. The current bug is really the least of the worries. Every time I would try to open the recycler view, it would just crash from the beginning. Found out that if the project has a to-do comment that says not yet implemented, it'll automatically crash, and that took a few days to figure out. That was interesting. Another thing, if I can find it. Is my code also implemented, where is it? Oh yes, the onList fragment listener. Figuring this out took a while too, because it would also crash things when I originally implemented it. So anytime I would click on an item, it would just crash the entire project, and I couldn't figure it out. All the example code I could find was all in Java, and it really wasn't very enlightening on what was happening. But that was part of the to-do comment that said not yet implemented. The databases themselves weren't too difficult. I just had to decide what relations I wanted. I did have a couple of problems there with initializing and getting everything to work, but once I got the repository object up and running, I was able to just put all my code for our repository in here, and everything started working just dandy. So, and it did take quite a while for me to get it all working, a lot longer than I expected it to. I thought it would only take me maybe a day and a half, and it ended up taking me like a full week just to get all this stuff up and running without it crashing every time I ran it. So I know the project is late, but those are the honest problems I encountered, and I'm just glad that I was able to finally push through some of it. And I think that's all I got to say on my learning experience.